Hi viewers, you're watching Sansad Television. This is the news with me, Rashika Gangwani. Before we take you through the day's top developments, a look at today's headlines. West Bengal Governor Jagdeep Dhankar named NDA's vice presidential candidate. Announcement after BJP parliamentary party meeting. Prime Minister Modi says Dhankar has excellent knowledge of constitution and legislative affairs. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla holds all-party meeting ahead of monsoon session. Appeals to all political parties to ensure smooth functioning of the House. 71 redundant laws to be repealed during monsoon session, says Union Law Minister Kiran Rijiju. Chief Justice N.V. Ramana expresses concern over pending cases in courts. Time to work with unprecedented speed and dedication to build a new India, says Prime Minister Modi while inaugurating Bundelkhand Expressway. Asserts it will give boost to industrial development in the region. PV Sindhu storms into the finals of Singapore Open. Aishwarya Tomar bags gold in Gangwani Shooting World Cup and Murli Srishankar enters the final of long jump event of the World Athletic Championship. Now let us take a look at some important news of the day in our flash segment. Over 5 crore people benefited from e-Sanjeevani teleconsultation, says Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia. Patients consult doctors and specialists on a daily basis using this innovative digital medium. INB Minister Anurag Singh Thakur stresses upon mantra for effective communication to guide government communication for India at 2047. Centre amends the legal metrology rules for ease of doing business. The amendment will allow the industry to declare the information in digital form through the QR code. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar says government adopted multi-dimensional approach in last 8 years to increase farmers' income. Says ICAR has been instrumental in doubling of farmers' income. Chief Justice of India N.V. Ramana expresses concerns over pending cases in the country, emphasizes on strengthening of court infrastructure and filling up vacant posts of judges. Ministry of Rural Development cautions general public against fraudulent claims by an organization purportedly carrying out recruitment in the name of the ministry. Bill to regulate digital media has been listed for monsoon session of the Parliament. The bill seeks to simplify procedure for medium and small publishers and uphold the values of press freedom. 16th edition of Central Teacher Eligibility Test is to be held in December this year. Exact date is to be declared later. CBSE says computer-based tests to be conducted in 20 languages. Sri Lanka's former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says he took all possible steps to avert the economic crisis that has engulfed the island nation. Rajapaksa's resignation was accepted by Parliament on Friday. India's Aishwarya Pratap Singh Tomar wins gold in 50-meter 3 positions event of the ISSF Shooting World Cup in Gangwani. Tomar beat Hungary's Jalan Pekler 16-12 for the top position. West Bengal Governor Jagdeep Dhankar has been named NDA candidate for vice presidential election. The name was announced by BJP chief JP Nadda after a meeting of BJP parliamentary party in New Delhi. Announcing his name, Nadda said that Dhankar is a Kisan Putra who has established himself as people's governor.
आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की उपस्थिति में सभी बातों की चर्चा हुई। कई नाम हमारे पास आए जिन पर चर्चा हुई, बड़ी वृहद चर्चा हुई। सभी दृष्टि से चर्चा में समाज की दृष्टि से देश की आवश्यकता, बाकी सारी चीज़ों को देख करके सभी नामों पर बड़ा गौर किया गया। लेकिन सभी नामों पर गौर करने के बाद हम सब लोग और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की संसदीय बोर्ड इस निष्कर्ष पर पहुंची है कि उपराष्ट्रपति पद के लिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी और एनडीए के प्रत्याशी के रूप में हमारे किसान पुत्र श्री जगदीप धनखड़ जी को हम उपराष्ट्रपति पद के लिए अपना प्रत्याशी के रूप में घोषित करते हैं।
In a tweet, Prime Minister Modi said that Dhankar has excellent knowledge of the Constitution and is well versed with legislative affairs. He expressed confidence that Dhankar will be an outstanding chair in the Rajya Sabha. Jagdeep Dhankar has been in public life for more than 3 decades. He was first elected as an MP from Jhunjhunu in Rajasthan in the year 1989 Lok Sabha elections. He also served as a Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs in 1990. In July 2019, he was appointed as the Governor of West Bengal. Election for the Vice President will be held on 6th of August. 19 July is the last date for filing nominations. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla on Saturday chaired an all-party meeting in the Parliament House ahead of the monsoon session that is set to begin on Monday. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi, Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs Arjun Ram Meghwal, Union Minister Anupriya Patel, Congress leader Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, DMK leader T.R. Balu and YSRCP's Mithun Reddy were present among others. Speaker Om Birla appealed to all members to take part in a healthy discussion on the issues concerning national and public interest. Party leaders have also assured the Lok Sabha Speaker of their full cooperation to ensure smooth conduct of the House.
सभी दलों के नेताओं ने, सरकार की तरफ से संसदीय कार्य मंत्री ने ये आश्वस्त किया है कि हम सदन की कार्रवाई में सहयोग करेंगे, महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दों पर चर्चा भी करेंगे, विधेयक पर भी चर्चा करेंगे।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday inaugurated the 296-kilometer long Bundelkhand Expressway, which passes through 7 districts of Uttar Pradesh. The expressway has been constructed at a cost of rupees 14,850 crore. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony at the Jaulon district, Prime Minister Modi said the identity of Uttar Pradesh is changing. The state is developing in every field. He added that the expressway will benefit the industrial growth of the region. The 4-lane expressway, which can be later expanded into 6-lane, passes through 7 districts: Chitrakoot, Banda, Mahoba, Hamirpur, Jaulon, Auraiya and Etawah. Besides improving connectivity in the region, the government expects the expressway to give a major boost to the economic development and create thousands of jobs for the local people. Prime Minister Modi had laid the foundation stone for the construction of the expressway on February 29, 2020, and it has been completed in about 28 months.
आज देश चल रहा है, उसके मूल में 2 प्रमुख पहलू हैं। एक है इरादा और दूसरा है मर्यादा। हम देश के वर्तमान के लिए नई सुविधाएं नहीं गढ़ रहे, बल्कि देश का भविष्य भी गढ़ रहे हैं।
Law and Justice Minister Kiran Rijiju has asserted that with coordination between the judiciary and the governments, avenues can be explored to provide speedy justice to the people. He inaugurated the 18th All India Legal Services Authority meet in Jaipur on Saturday. The minister said that the government is continuously working to abolish the old and useless laws.
हमने अभी 1824 ऐसे कानून और आइडेंटिफाई किए हैं और मैं आज इस जयपुर के बैठक में मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूं कि ये जो आने वाले पार्लियामेंट सेशन है, आई एम कमिटेड टू रिमूव क्लोज टू 71 different acts and appropriation acts.
Addressing the gathering, Chief Justice of India N.V. Ramana has expressed concern over pending cases in different courts of the country. He also emphasized on strengthening the infrastructure of the courts and filing up vacant posts of the judges.
I am glad he has taken up the issue of pendency. We judges also, if we go outside the country or different parts of the world, we also face the same question: how many years a case takes place? You all know this main important reason is not filling up the vacancies, judicial vacancies, improving the judicial infrastructure.
Corporation Minister Amit Shah on Saturday asked Agriculture and Rural Development banks to extend more long-term loans to the agriculture sector, including for irrigation and other infrastructure. Addressing a national conference, Shah added, the government is building a database on cooperatives for expansion of this sector, which is important for boosting farm growth and doubling farmers' income. The minister, however, stated that there are many hurdles in providing long-term financing to the agriculture sector. He asserted that time has come to overcome those hurdles with cooperative spirit and achieve agriculture growth.
5.2 लाख किसानों को हमने मीडियम और लॉन्ग टर्म फाइनेंस किया है 13 करोड़ किसानों से। ये हमारा काम है, कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी का हम संपर्क करें, उसकी सोसाइटी में पैक्स के अंदर जो किसान लॉन्ग टर्म फाइनेंस लेना चाहता है उसको हमारी बैंक के साथ कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी लेकर आए। इस प्रकार की यंत्रणा हम लेकर।
Monsoon is on its peak in India, with many parts of the country receiving heavy to very heavy rainfall. In Maharashtra, heavy rains lashed several parts of the state. In Nagpur, a part of the Khasala Ashbund of Koradi thermal power plant collapsed, releasing water waste that flooded the surrounding villages, damaging crops and vegetation in the area. Most parts of Rajasthan are receiving heavy rainfall, which is expected to continue. Army and BSF personnel have been called in for a rescue mission in Sri Ganganagar, which is experiencing heavy waterlogging. Several people have been rescued from flood-hit low-lying areas in Odisha's Malkangiri district. These areas have been flooded as the Godavari River is in spate in neighbouring Andhra Pradesh. The water level in the Godavari River has reached 70 feet at the Bhadrachalan, 4 feet higher than the previous record set in 2006. The water level at Sir Arthur Cotton Barrage at Doveleswaram in Andhra Pradesh has crossed 2.4 million cusecs and is likely to rise further. About 300 villages of 6 districts located on the banks of River Godavari are in reeling under floods, while 177 more villages are affected by heavy rains. The worst affected by the floods is Konasema district, where 36 villages are completely submerged. In about 220 relief camps, 62,337 affected people have taken shelter. 10 teams of NDRF and SDRF are engaged in rescue and relief operations. Now some more national news. India is all set to achieve the 200 crore COVID-19 vaccination mark, Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia stated on Saturday. More than 199 crore 87 lakh vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far. Over 20,000 new COVID cases were recorded in the last 24 hours in the country. 56 new deaths have been reported, while over 18,000 people recovered in the last 24 hours. The recovery rate is currently at 98.48%. The Aam Aadmi Party has announced support for joint opposition candidate Yashwant Sinha in the presidential poll. The decision was taken in the PAC meeting chaired by AAP National Convener and Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. Meanwhile, Yashwant Sinha met with Jharkhand Chief Minister to seek support. The Eknath Shinde-led government in Maharashtra gave a cabinet approval to rename Aurangabad and Osmanabad. The cities are to be renamed as Chhatrapatis, Shambhaji Nagar and Dharashiv respectively. The 17th batch of over 5,800 Amarnath pilgrims left Jammu city on Saturday morning for the twin base camps of Pahalgam and Baltal in Kashmir. So far, over 1.65 lakh pilgrims have offered prayers at the cave shrine. Time for a short break. We'll get more news on the other side. Welcome back after the break. Now time for all the big developments from the Russia-Ukraine war front. Russia stepped up its onslaught against Ukraine on Saturday. At least 3 civilians were killed and 3 more were injured in a Russian rocket strike on the northern Ukrainian city of Chuhuiv in the early hours. 4 Russian rockets hit a residential building, a school and administrative buildings in the area. Chuhuiv lies some 120 kilometers from the border. In the neighboring Sumy region, one civilian was killed and at least 7 more were injured after Russians opened mortar and artillery fire on 3 towns and villages. At least 3 people have been killed and 15 injured in a Russian missile attack on the central Ukrainian city of Dnipro late on Friday night. Ukraine's Air Force said several cruise missiles fired from strategic bombers over the Caspian Sea hit a factory and a busy street next to it. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky reiterated his vow to bring all those responsible for the deadly attack on Vinnytsia to justice. He said that he is doing everything at the national and international level in this regard. Thursday's missile attack on Vinnytsia killed at least 23 people, including 3 children. Zelensky also condemned Friday's attack on the southern city of Mykolaiv. The White House has said that Russian officials have visited Iran at least twice in recent weeks to view drones for use in its ongoing war in Ukraine. It said that Iran showcased the drones for Russian officials at Kashan airfield on 8 June and 15th of July. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said in a statement that they have information that the Iranian government is preparing to provide Russia with several hundred UAVs. Now time for some other global updates. Sri Lanka's acting president Ranil Wickremesinghe, main opposition leader Sajith Premadasa are among the 4 leaders who have joined the race to become the country's next president. The presidential elections are scheduled for next week. Sri Lankan parliament met for a brief special session on Saturday to announce the vacancy in the presidency following the resignation of Rajapaksa. Rajapaksa, who fled to the Maldives on Wednesday and then landed in Singapore on Thursday, formally resigned on Friday. The 225-member parliament is dominated by Rajapaksa's ruling Sri Lanka Podijana Peramuna party. For the first time since 1978, Sri Lanka will elect its next president through a secret vote by the MPs and not through a popular mandate. Meanwhile, India has assured Sri Lanka that it will continue to support democracy, stability and economic recovery in the country, which is at crucial juncture. Now look at some more global news. The US House of Representatives, the lower house of the US Congress, has voted to restore abortion rights nationwide. It is Democratic Party's first legislation response to the Supreme Court's decision to make abortion illegal. The House also passed a second bill to prohibit punishment for a woman or child who decides to travel to another state to get an abortion. President Joe Biden began his final day in Saudi Arabia by meeting with Iraqi caretaker Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi. Biden said he wanted to support Iraq's democracy. Al-Kadhimi thanked the US for providing support to combat terrorist groups. President Biden is in Jeddah to attend Gulf Cooperation Council Summit that includes Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. The leaders of Egypt, Iraq and Jordan are also attending the summit. US President Joe Biden also met with Egypt's President al-Sisi in Saudi Arabia. It was their first face-to-face meeting since Biden took office in 2021. Biden thanked President al-Sisi for Egypt's role in a ceasefire to Israel's war with Hamas last year in the Gaza Strip. The 2 leaders discussed food security and energy supplies, along with ways to revive Palestinian peace process. They also discussed Egypt's effort to secure a legally binding agreement over the cooperation of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Hours after US President Joe Biden concluded a visit to Israel and the Palestinian territories, both sides exchanged fire. Last night, 2 rocket attacks, coming several hours apart, set off air raid sirens in parts of southern Israel. No injuries or damage were reported and no Palestinian group has claimed responsibility for the rocket fire. In response, Israeli military attacked what it said was a Hamas military site in the Gaza Strip early on Saturday. In Cuba, a sudden shortage of diesel fuel is seen as the authorities were forced to divert fuel from the transport sector to run power plants. Queues are seen for blocks and drivers wait several days to fill up their cars, trucks and vans. The drivers organize themselves by drawing up lists and updating their presence on them each day as the fuel tankers arrived and the line progressed. Citizens of Havana came up with provisions of monitoring their progress on the line from home through WhatsApp groups. The government has made no official comments on the shortage of diesel in stations. A hidden self-portrait of what experts believe is almost certainly Vincent van Gogh has been discovered behind one of his paintings. The underdrawing shows a person with a beard and a complete left ear, which the artist famously cut off in 1888. Here are more details.
This X-ray could be the first look at a previously known self-portrait of Vincent van Gogh. Discovered by the National Galleries of Scotland, it's hidden at the back of another painting, Head of Peasant Woman from 1885. Van Gogh, like many artists, was known for using both sides of canvases to save money. The museum says it's almost certainly a self-portrait of the artist. It was discovered while research work was carried out in preparation for an upcoming exhibition. Leslie Stevenson, senior paintings conservator at the National Galleries of Scotland, was in the room when the X-ray was taken. The portrait shows a person with a beard and a brimmed hat with a neckerchief. His left ear, which he cut off in 1888 following a confrontation with Paul Gauguin, is clearly visible. The self-portrait is covered by layers of glue and cardboard, believed to have been applied before an exhibition in the early 20th century.
In terms of discovering underdrawings, that has been happening for many years now. Especially with new technology, we can see what artists were doing before, and artists change their minds all the time. They do one underdrawing, then decide, oh, I don't like it, or they flip the canvas over and paint on the other side. That's quite a natural part of the artistic process.
Conservationists will attempt to separate the self-portrait from the portrait later this year, but it will be a challenging mission. Before they do, the portrait and the X-ray in a light box will be on show from 30th July at the Royal Scottish Academy in Edinburgh. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Now time for all the sporting action. In athletics, Murli Srishankar became the first Indian male long jumper to qualify for World Athletic Champions finals being held in Eugene, USA. Srishankar jumped 8 meters to finish second in Group B and 7th overall. Finals are to be held on Sunday. 3,000 meter steeplechaser Avinash Sable has also expectedly made to the finals of his event. Sable finished third in heat number 3, clocking 8 minutes 18.75 seconds to qualify for the finals to be held on Monday. In badminton, PV Sindhu stormed into the Singapore Open title clash with a commanding win over Japanese Saina Kawakami. Sindhu prevailed 21-15, 21-7. She will face China's Wang Shiyi in the final. Moving on to cricket, the third decisive and final ODI of the series between India and England will be played at Old Trafford, Manchester tomorrow. The series is level at 1-1, with India winning the first match by 10 wickets and England winning the second by 100 runs. Now moving on to Formula 1, after making a successful Formula 1 test debut, India's Jehan Daruwala will now take part in a second 2-day test with former champions McLaren at the Portimao circuit in Portugal next week. The test will take place on July 18th and 19th. Before the wrap, a relook at the headlines. West Bengal Governor Jagdeep Dhankar is NDA's vice presidential candidate. Announcing his name, BJP chief JP Nadda calls him Kisan Putra and a people's governor. Election to be held on 6th of August. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla holds all-party meeting ahead of monsoon session. Appeals to all political parties to ensure smooth functioning of the House. 71 redundant laws to be repealed during monsoon session, says Union Law Minister Kiran Rijiju. Chief Justice N.V. Ramana expresses concern over pending cases in courts. Time to work with unprecedented speed and dedication to build a new India, says Prime Minister Modi while inaugurating Bundelkhand Expressway. Asserts it will give boost to industrial development in the region. PV Sindhu storms into the finals of Singapore Open. Aishwarya Tomar bags gold medal in Gangwani Shooting World Cup. And Mulli Srishankar enters the final of long jump event of World Athletic Championship. That's all we have time for. Keep watching Sansad TV for more updates. Good night.